Hello and welcome to episode 21 of this Blender and Unity crash course. This episode we're going to start creating our player in Blender. So I think I've decided on a little chicken. So but the last 20 episodes I think we pretty much know what we're doing. So let's I'm probably just going to go for it, and I'll stop here and there to explain any new things or any new useful tips. Okay, so first of all I'm just going to delete this cube, Shift A. I'm gonna add a UV sphere. I'm going to create kind of a broken egg on the top and bottom of this guy. So just as a cylinder, you can click this little drop down arrow. I'm going to change this to 24 and this to 12. Just change the geometry on the segments and rings there. Change the radius as well, of course, by to make it bigger, but we can do that after. Okay, good. Let's go into edit mode. I'm going to go to the front view. I'm going to click this little top, this little vertices on the very top here. Right here you have proportional editing. There's a hotkey for this, and it's O. So if I press O, and I move now, I have this this ring here. So what that's going to do is fade your movement to the outside of the circle, right? And it'll be less or more. So all I want to do is hit, you can change the shape actually of your transform here as well. Just smooth, let me use this one. Sure. Okay, we have sort of an egg. We can go into object mode, right click, click shade smooth. Go back into edit mode here. I'm just going to delete this ring of vertices right here. And if I delete vertices, it'll delete the edges coming off of the vertices to them as well. So just keep that in mind. You know what? Let's use a mirror modifier to make things easier. So I'm gonna hit hold Alt and click that ring there. Hold Alt to click that one. Okay, and I guess it wants us to do it on both sides since there's a ring of geometry there. I'm just gonna hit V, and that'll rip. Right now I can hit L over these islands on the side. X vertices, modifiers. You can add modifiers in edit mode, but you cannot apply them. Just something to note. I'm gonna go mirror. And now, before I use this little checkbox clipping, it won't actually be attached, right? We can go either way and stuff like that. So I'm going to hit O to take off proportional editing there. I'm going to hit clipping. Now if I move, the center is connected. As long as they're on this, right in the middle of this x-axis here, right in the middle, if they're touching, they will merge. They won't split apart. So that's something we use to create the little chicken. So for right now, I'm just going to click every second. Sorry, let's just start with the top. I'm going to create click every second vertices. I want to hit go to the front view. If you hit G to edge slide, sometimes they'll want to go over to the sides, right? You see like that. Just go to the front view and just make sure this is going to be good for us here. Let's just hit GG and just slide up towards the next line of vertices there. Okay. I'm going to hit GG, come down. Just make sure there's no snapping going on all over the place and give it a look at the end there. Perfect. Okay, instead of just being able to see one side, let's close these meshes up. So let's go Alt, select that ring there. Now my center of mass, when you have a mirror modifier on, is only going to be the center of one side. So it's going to be like the center of this is going to be right here, not the middle. Just to bear in mind. So you might have to slide it over on the x-axis a little bit, stuff like that. So let's select this ring, hit E, and just scale it. You can see it's going to scale to the center of mass right here, not the middle. One thing we can do is we can hit Alt S, and that'll scale in the normals, so they're all facing each other down towards the middle. I guess we'll slide this up. Okay, I'm going to hit E to extrude again. Alt S, scale in the normals. Shift GZ, just bring this up a little bit. Okay, I can hit right click and go to smooth vertices. Right, you can see what that's doing there. Okay, that's Alt S. Okay, smooth again, bring it up. I think that'll work for me. Just gonna hit E one more time, right click so they're there. M at center, and obviously our center of mass is over here. Just hit G and X and slide it over until it merges there in the middle. Just gonna bring this up a tiny bit as well. Alright, I think that geometry is fine. And we're gonna create a normal map for our egg here. And that's gonna fix most of the shading that you can see the issues there. Let's do the same thing down here. Alt S. Down a bit, E, Alt S. Smooth a couple of times, so it's not so sharp. Oops, Alt S. Bring it down. Okay, E, one more time, right click, M at center, G, X, until they're there. And just bring this down a little bit. Now when you sculpt on something, and you want to bake that normal map like we did for the coin, the mesh needs to be totally enclosed. Right, there can't be any negative normals facing the wrong direction. So let's go in here, A, select all, Shift and recalculate normals just to be sure. Okay, I'm going to save this. I'm going to call this chicken character. Okay, let's continue. All right, so for the character, I'm just going to add an object mode here. I'm going to add a cube. Let's go in and let's get that mirror modifier set up right now. So just got to cut a loop right there with Control R, V. Select that island, delete vertices. Okay, with clipping attached there, let's add another modifier, Subsurface. Okay, so we used this to add geometry to our sculpt before, but we'll actually use this a little bit now to actually model our character a bit. So basically what I want to do is create a little chick on the inside there. Maybe we'll go in here, just L, select that island, G, Z, maybe we'll bring this up a little bit. So let's add some geometry, let's come down a little bit, let's go E to extrude, the Z axis, so it'll snap to its normal face right away, but if you hit Z, it'll just unsnap, right, and then you can snap it to other axes if you want. You can just right click and move it afterwards, and bring this in that way. Let's actually just smooth these. Okay, E, extrude one more time. Let's scale this one up a bit, I guess. So I'm just going to pull points here until I'm satisfied with what I have. Object mode and shrink the whole thing. We can Control A and reset the transform afterwards to 111, right, in 0 position. Let's hit L over this, P, separate by selection. Let's just increase the size of this bottom a little bit. More like this. Just pull points until you're happy with what you have. Sometimes it takes a very long time, sometimes it's really quick. All depends. So we could just come in here and select these vertices, hit Control B to bevel them. And as you can see here, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on these faces here. But if we go into our modifier and uncheck optimal display in object mode, you can see that these n-gons have been transformed into quadrilaterals because of this subdivision surface modifier, and that's pretty good. Let's leave it like that. So I'm going to select these 3. Press E to extrude. Come out a little bit, I guess. Let's press SX0, and that'll flatten everything completely on the x-axis there. So that's good. Let's rotate these a little. Maybe come out. Maybe come out to out there and extrude one more time. Okay. So we can change the shape of these little wings to be whatever. Yeah, I'm just going to select that one. I'm going to come in a little bit. So it has they have little tips. Okay, I think that'll work. So let's create a little beak. So let's go Shift A. Let's add a cube again. This time just the Subsurf modifier. Go to edit mode. Make sure you can see your mesh. Hit wireframe to do that and stuff. Let's just kind of create a beak shape here out of this. I won't use the mirror for this. It's a little bit easier. Something like that. Let's take this face. You can just delete this face as a matter of fact. It's going to be inside the guy. Okay, shade smooth. Let's shrink it. Yeah, that's a little bit wide. Alright. I'm just going to add a UV sphere. And I'm going to bring the geometry way down. So I'm going to say maybe 12 and 6. That'll probably be just fine. Bring it out here. This time we'll use a mirror modifier, but we won't use clipping. So let's just bring it over here into object mode, mirror modifier. Okay. Let's shrink it on the Y a little bit, shrink it on the X a little bit, shrink it down a little bit more. Bring them in. Gotta put them something like that. Okay, we'll paint all this stuff. We're going to create a sculpt for probably the body, maybe the beak, the egg, and most likely also the feet. Let's select these 2 vertices, or these 2 faces, sorry. Let's Shift D and duplicate them. With them selected, just hit P, selection. Okay, so now we have 2 little squares here. They're using the mirror modifier already. That's fine. We can uncheck clipping. And let's add Subsurf to these as well. So hitting Z twice after you extrude a fully closed object will snap it to the real Z axis, not its normal. Shrink those a bit. Scale down. And I just want to actually... I don't want to create a full loop right here, but maybe that's fine. Just hit Alt S, scale that on the normals a touch, just so it's a little bit inflated. Okay. So yeah, so let's just create 2 toes on the front and 1 on the back. So let's come here first. E. Let's make sure it's snapping to the Y. There we go, so it doesn't go up or down. Just gonna move this over a little bit. And same thing here, snap it to the Y, move it over a touch. We can actually rotate this way a little. And do the same thing over here. Alrighty, something like that. We can take these here, we can delete this face. Again, like the beak, it's going to be up in them. For it a little, just take this and move them back. Again, somewhere. Can even rotate the whole leg so that it's kind of facing out a little bit. Yeah, I think that'll be good. We can kind of move this to the back of them. We could angle this a little again. Let's try that. I think that works. Okay, Control S, save. We'll move everything so that it's up on the floor plane and everything like that.